समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
All of the day, through the day, we've been watching launch of really landmark infrastructure projects in Mumbai. One is the Navi Mumbai International Airport, the new airport, now named DB Patil Airport. And there's an interesting story that I will tell you as we go along. And then there is the full aqua line or Metro Line 3 in Mumbai that travels north to south. That's like a jugular in a human body that goes through the entire body. So this starts with the famous or infamous RA area, what was sort of misdescribed as RA forest, and there were many arguments about that. Starts from there, cuts right across Mumbai. Mumbai is a ribbon-shaped city. I will describe a little bit of it to you as we go along, and comes to the other end in the south to Cuff Parade. That was built up to Worli in central Bombay. Now the Worli Cuff Parade section, about 10 kilometers, which is all underground, that's been opened. What this means is that you can now get in the metro from Mumbai International Airport, get to Cuff Parade or get to any part of South Bombay in about 40-45 minutes. In a car, or if you do it by road, it will still, despite the sea link and the coastal road, it will still take you anything between 1.5 to 2 hours through most hours of the day, because even if the coastal road helps you, it is the Western Expressway, the last bit to either approach the airport or get out of the airport, where you get stuck. This will be the fastest connection in Mumbai, north to south. And similarly, the airport, if this metro will give Mumbai, all of central Mumbai, and most populated and the most high traffic business areas of Mumbai breathing space, this will become like a lung for them. Similarly, the new Mumbai airport will provide relief to Mumbai for air connectivity, because Mumbai really has one airport with one functional runway at any point of time. It has two runways, but they cross each other, so at any point of time only one runway can be operated. That's why if you've been traveling to Mumbai, you would have the experience of the aircraft circling for half an hour, or when you board the aircraft in Mumbai, you're having to wait in the plane for a very long time. That's how these delays take place. It's really, by modern standards, it's a little bit of a toy airport for such a big countries, the world's fourth largest economies, financial capital. The new airport will give it relief. More importantly, it'll start restoring the west-east balance in Mumbai. I will explain that to you in just a little bit. However, before I get there, let me raise a question. How is it that all of these projects, these have been 30 years in the planning? The Harbour Link between eastern Mumbai, in the eastern seaboard of Mumbai, and Navi Mumbai. Navi Mumbai is part of the Maharashtra mainland. Mumbai itself is an island city. Now, if you've been to Hong Kong, or if you look up the map of Hong Kong itself is an island, right? But a lot of the development that's taken place is across that creek, or across that little bit of the sea, over which you can go in a ferry, you can go in a bridge, you can take the metro across Hong Kong, because any island will have limited space. And Hong Kong is very full, but across Hong Kong, an entirely new territories come up. Kowloon, we've all known, but beyond Kowloon, then other areas, and then new territories. The new Hong Kong International Airport came up there, and that has completely transformed Hong Kong from an island city to a a much bigger metropolis and a much bigger business center that provides jobs, homes to so many people, and that generates so much economy. Something like that waited to be done in Mumbai as well, and that might happen now because one of the longest planned projects in Mumbai has been a Trans Harbour Link. That's been a causeway to be built over a little bit of the sea, about 17, 18 kilometers of the sea, connecting the eastern seaboard of Mumbai to the mainland, to the Maharashtra mainland of Navi Mumbai. Navi Mumbai was a township that had been coming up for a long time, but it always had a connectivity issue because you had to really go around to get there. Took too much time. Navi Mumbai never developed, which means the island city of Mumbai never connected with the mainland of Maharashtra. That project, the Trans Harbour Link, had been sitting in plans for a long time. That's been implemented in the last 5 years as the coastal road on the western seaboard, as now the Navi Mumbai Airport, which has also been in the plans for almost 20 years now. Now, you might ask me, it's a good question to ask, anybody would ask, that how come these projects took so long, that how come these projects were in the plans for such a long time, and yet nothing moved for so long, and then everything moved dramatically in the past 5 years. The metro in Mumbai, now we are very impressed that we built this metro, and this metro will do wonders for Mumbai because to go north to south in Mumbai is really brilliant, and to do this in air-conditioned comfort. So many years ago, in fact, in April 2014, in the run-up to the elections that year, I had written a series of writings on the wall out of Mumbai, but one of those was headlined Navi Kolkata. Navi Kolkata, why? Because we said Calcutta is now beginning to rot like Kolkata had done at one point of time. In fact, even now, Kolkata doesn't have that much infrastructure. It doesn't have that much economic activity. Its metro has also been very slow in construction. And we said Mumbai had begun to decline and rot like Kolkata. That was 2014. It was then that I had said, and in more writings after that look at this city. This is India's richest city. People who work in this city are fortunate because the city gives so many jobs. And yet, this entire city does not provide one seat for commuting in air-conditioned comfort. Now, air conditioning is basic these days. Any metro is air-conditioned, but not in Mumbai. Mumbai trains were crowded, they were sweaty, there was pushing and shoving, and yet in popular culture, they were romanticized as if that was the best thing. It wasn't the best thing. Just think of the number of deaths that take place along those railway tracks in Mumbai. In any case, everything should be there. The railway should be there in Mumbai. Nobody's going to take that railway away. But Mumbai also needs to be able to let its people travel in comfort, travel in comfort and with predictability. That's what a metro does, and that is the dramatic shift with this metro. Now, this metro, coastal road, the Trans Harbour Link, Navi Mumbai Airport, all of this has come up in the last 5 years. This started generally in 2019. Some of it was stop-start because governments kept changing. Yet it has happened in express time. In fact, 18 months back, Mumbai had looked like a dump. In just 18 months, it has transformed. So a question would arise that how does this happen? What does it take to build infrastructure at such a pace, and what does it take for obvious infrastructural projects to get delayed forever? So I will tell you, basically, there will be three things. Anybody can say that. I don't have to be a particularly wise person to tell you that. Anybody can say that. One is money. Second is state capacity. But these two, India is not short of money for these projects. India is also not short of state capacity once it gets down to it, because otherwise these projects would not have been built. Money was available, state project was available. Third is the most important factor. That is political will. Because if you have political will, then you can get many things done. In this case, for example, to build the Navi Mumbai Airport, a war room was set up, a very generous compensation plan was worked out for land acquisition. In fact, the airport now, it's quite remarkable. The Navi Mumbai Airport, almost everything in and around Mumbai is either named after Chhatrapati Shivaji or is named after one of the great heroes of Maratha history. But this airport, the new airport, is named D.B. Patil Airport. Who was D.B. Patil? He's no former Chief Minister of Maharashtra. He's no former Maharashtra leader who became a key figure in Delhi. D.B. Patil was a local leader in Navi Mumbai. He fought for the rights of the landowners there, got them the best possible deal. At one point of time, when Shinde was chief minister, this airport was named after Balasaheb Thackeray. Then some people wanted it also to be named after Shivaji. And then an agitation started in Navi Mumbai that this should be named after D.B. Patil, who was a local leader. And that agitation was led, in fact, by a BJP MLA, Prashant Thakur. And therefore, this airport has now been named after D.B. Patil. So, political will. Once you have political will, you can set up war rooms, you can carry out quick and better rehabilitation and of project affected persons. You can remove many cobwebs. In the case of Navi Mumbai Airport, in fact, if you go to Pragati portal maintained by the Prime Minister's office, you will see Devendra Fadnavis saying that in these meetings for clearances for the airport, there were so many things that were pending. In one day, in one single day, 17 no objection certificates were issued, over 17 issues. Now, what political will does is it removes clutter, because if political will is not there, then you're always confused. What will happen? What will be the implication? This coalition partner will not like it. That activist will come up. These courts will stop this. In some of these projects, in fact, have been held up in Mumbai despite Supreme Court clearance, High Court or Supreme Court clearance. The Aqua Line was held up by the Uddhav Thackeray government just because some activists said that this was cutting through RA forest. In fact, the area where it starts is not even a forest. That is something that I had spoken about in earlier episode of Cut the Clutter in 2019. In fact, I will share a link with you. This was on October 7, 2019. That was episode 284. So it was a long time back. It was almost 6 years back. And that talked about how this mythology of RA forest had been created to block this metro line, right? Once you got the political will, all these objections and all these roadblocks went out of the way. Similarly, for Coastal Road, opposition had come up, and one of the points of opposition, although the courts had cleared it, one of the points of opposition was that this will affect corals that grow along that coast. How many corals were these? As a survey had found, it was just 4 square feet of corals. That also led to a national interest that we published in April that year. So once again, remember the 3 things you need for building infrastructure: money, state capacity, and number 3, political will. So it is when the political will came together and Maharashtra and Mumbai got the benefit not just of a double engine governance, because many other states have double engine governance as the BJP defines it, which means the same party at the center, same party in the state. In this case, it also became double engine within the state as well. So it got the benefit of twin double engine governments. What do I mean by twin engines in the state? That is because of the competition between Devendra Fadnavis. You can say competition, you can also say harmony of thinking, right? Between Devendra Fadnavis, Chief Minister now, Deputy Chief Minister earlier, and Eknath Shinde, Chief Minister earlier, Deputy Chief Minister now. So both have pushed this project forward as a center. And that's how the picture has changed so dramatically in Mumbai and Maharashtra. In Maharashtra, in fact, there is 3,000 kilometers of expressways being built, connecting almost each one of the 36 districts of Maharashtra. That's a story that Mansi Phatke, our deputy editor in Mumbai, had done in 2022. I will share a link of that story. You can also see screenshots as I go along. Now that said, let me also try and explain. I'm not a Mumbai expert. I've never lived in Mumbai. I travel to Mumbai often, and I've spent hours and hours on most of these visits just being stuck in traffic in Mumbai. So traffic in a big city, and big business city, is not just about comfort. It is about comfort, yes, but it's about time. because time is value. And in the financial capital of the country where multi-million dollar deals are being struck over a coffee or over 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, travel time becomes a big issue. That's why I always used to wonder, even when I wrote that series of writings on the wall in 2014, including that Navi Kolkata, my question was, how come Mumbai cannot build an underground metro? And I was told there are technical problems, this problems, that problems, how will you go underneath buildings? Now just think, when was the first underground railway built in the world? Think about it. It wasn't 50 years ago. It wasn't 150 years ago. It wasn't 50 years ago. It wasn't 100 years ago. It wasn't even 150 years ago. It was longer than that. 1863 is when the first underground train line was built in the world. That was between Paddington and Farringdon in London. Later it became a part of the Metropolitan line. Of course, in 1863, when this line was opened, you still had steam trains. The first electrified line in London, underground line, was City and South London Railway in 1890. So the first underground is 1863, that is steam. First electrified is 1890. So it's not as if this technology is so cutting edge, it's just been invented, that it's impossible to build metro lines in your cities. And if you think the British might have been able to do it because they had colonies, they were looting so much money from the colonies. The fact is that the first fully electrified and genuine urban transport metro line was inaugurated. It became functional in 1896 where? But in Budapest in Hungary. So metro making in cities has been a very old pursuit. In India, we've taken too long. Kolkata started first, but Kolkata has been building it at the usual Kolkata pace. It is still quite inadequate for that city. But Mumbai had never even started it. But now that Mumbai has got these, and from today, once people start going from Cuff Parade at this end, say to Jogeshwari Vikhroli Link Road, that is the again very crowded area with lots of thick slums around it and lots of business parks also. That is when people will see the value, because this also cuts through Mumbai's multiple downtowns, because Mumbai is a very interesting city now. It has not one downtown but three downtowns, because one is the old downtown, which might be South Mumbai, that is Cuff Parade, Nariman Point, Kolaba. Then another one came up in terms of where businesses were located, that is Lower Parel, Worli area, where lots of textile mills were converted into new buildings and office towers. And then a new one came up in Bandra Kurla complex. As I speak, you see these landmarks on the map of Mumbai. Bandra Kurla complex is now the new financial capital of Mumbai, and by extension, new financial capital of the world. Most of the big banks of India are now headquartered in Bandra Kurla complex. This one railway line will take you through all of these. That's the kind of revolutionary transformation that just one metro line can bring about. Now, let's try and understand Mumbai. Suppose this is Mumbai. Suppose this is Mumbai like this. This is Mumbai. Forget the dimensions, it's just my hand. I'm not drawing the map of Mumbai. Mumbai is an island city like this. So suppose this is South Mumbai, this is Cuff Parade, Nariman Point, Kolaba, Gateway of India, somewhere here. If you've been traveling to Mumbai often, and unless you go and live in central Mumbai or some part of Mumbai, if you make business visits to Mumbai or short visits to Mumbai, you would have, chances are that you would have touched down at the airport somewhere here, then come into the western side along the western coast of Mumbai, then pass past central Mumbai, Worli, etc. on the side, and then come into South Mumbai. South Mumbai is the old business district. That's also where the government of Maharashtra is located, right? Most of your familiarity will be with the western seaboard of Mumbai. So it would seem to anybody, even in terms of where business developed, where the big offices were, where the big financial institutions were, it would look as if all of Mumbai had developed only along its western seaboard. The eastern seaboard was completely lost. It was completely lost for multiple reasons. One of the reasons was that some of it was taken by Bombay Port Trust. Bombay Port Trust, BPT, has a lot of land, about 750 acres of land. That port is really not a port anymore, because that port has a draft of 5.6 meters only. For any container ship to come in, you need a draft of at least 20 meters. That port did not have it. That no financial capital has any business to have a big port sitting in its heart. So you have a bunch of lands on the eastern seaboard taken by the Bombay Port Trust, which is now more or less useless. Then you have again large expanses of land called the salt pans. So in British times, some lands were allocated to people to make salt. Now who would make salt like that? So these lands are lying there, either mostly wasted or encroached upon or slummified. And then you have the mangroves, etc., etc. Across this is Navi Mumbai. So because there was no connectivity with Navi Mumbai, that's also one more reason. The eastern seaboard of Mumbai, for convenience sake, I'm calling this the western seaboard, and this is the eastern seaboard. Eastern seaboard had completely remained ignored. Now what happens? From the eastern seaboard, Harbour Link gets built to the Maharashtra mainland, the area which now we call Navi Mumbai. In Navi Mumbai, the new airport comes in. Within Navi Mumbai, as you get off this 22-kilometer Trans-Harbour Link or Atal Setu, now another coastal road is being built on the Navi Mumbai side called the Ulve Road, which takes you straight to the new airport. Also, now that the new airport's coming up, it will be fully operational, I think, in another month and a half or two. For now, only one runway will function and one terminal. Ultimately, by 2035, it will be 4 terminals, 2 runways, 90 million passengers. Current Mumbai airport is about 55 to 60 million passengers. So this will be a big powerhouse. And as the use of this airport grows, then there will be plans to start a ferry service between Gateway of India and the Navi Mumbai airport in such a way that you can check your baggage at the gateway itself. When that happens, that ferry service will also have some juice, and connectivity with the eastern seaboard will get better. And as this is happening, the further road is now being built to connect, say, the Atal Setu area also across the island. That is where old Elphinstone Bridge has now been demolished to make way for a new connection. And once that connector comes in, then an east-west connection in Mumbai will also come in. And finally, Mansi Fatke tells me another road will be built from the eastern side, coming into South Bombay. Once that comes up, effectively, Mumbai will have a ring road, and then there will be this west-east balance in Mumbai. If that happens, can you imagine how much more growth, how much more housing, how much more office space, how much more public spaces will be created? This coastal road, one of the oppositions to the coastal road was that the land that the coastal road is creating, because they were going to carry out a landfill. The allegation then was, or suspicion, and sometimes these suspicions are genuine because this is how things have turned out in the past. The suspicions were that much of the land that these reclamation activities will create will again be sold to builders. The government commitment was that these will be for public purpose, for parks, etc. Now, as we see, you can see these parks coming up. In fact, there is a plan now to connect this park with a part of the Mahalakshmi racecourse area, which the state government is now taking, and converting into a central park for Mumbai city. So public space is also being created. There's a lot more happening in Maharashtra. We will talk about it in more detail later, but let me just tell you that first of all, a 701-kilometer expressway has been built between Nagpur and Mumbai. That involved digging almost an 8-kilometer long tunnel. And that tunnel was between Igatpuri and Kashara to avoid the mountains, or what is called in our coastal areas the Ghat section. So to avoid the Ghats, an 8-kilometer tunnel was built. This expressway is now complete. Another one is in the works. That is the Shaktipeeth Expressway that is connecting Nagpur with Goa. And once that comes up, because it will provide you intersections and interchanges with the Nagpur-Mumbai Samruddhi Expressway, which has already come up, it will make it possible for you to take an expressway ride from Mumbai to Goa. One thing that is stuck, however, is the Mumbai-Goa expressway. And Nitin Gadkari is on record as having said that I have built highways that connect India to foreign countries, neighboring countries, but I have not been able to build this highway, this expressway, because that is where lots of land acquisition problems still exist. Now, in addition to this, another tunnel has been dug and completed. That is the longest tunnel in Maharashtra, 8.9 kilometers, under the existing Mumbai-Pune expressway. That is what Nitin Gadkari had built when he was a minister in Maharashtra. Now that expressway is very crowded now. Also, the Ghat section in that expressway is a bit dangerous. Visibility issues, speeding issues, and lots of accidents take place. Plus, traffic jams and delays take place. Now, another section of 13.3 kilometers has been built, which includes an 8.9 kilometer tunnel, Maharashtra's longest tunnel, and some of the tunnel, at least a part of the tunnel, goes 170 meters below the Lonavala lake, right? There are also aqueducts which have been built above the ground. This 13.3 kilometer section has 8.9 kilometer tunnel and two aqueducts, 840 meters and 650 meters. That is more or less complete. By December, they should be functional as well. That saves at least half hour, if not longer, on the drive between Mumbai and Pune. And once that happens, Mumbai and Pune will move closer to becoming twin cities. Now, a lot else remains to be done. The Ahmedabad-Mumbai high-speed railway project, for example, or the bullet train project is still delayed. It's taking longer. As we talk, maybe it will take another 5 years. And there are a couple of other things in the works. But basically, if you look at the big picture, and this is the city of Bombay, you first saw the western seaboard sort of go through a revolution. Then we've seen the eastern seaboard going through a revolution, and then through its heart, through the city's heart, now you've got this brilliant metro built, and just now Maharashtra cabinet has sanctioned yet another metro. That will be line 11 or the green line. That will come along the eastern side. That will come along the eastern side and then connect in the metro system, which means Mumbai will finally begin leveraging its east. Right now, it had been too weighted on the western side. The eastern seaboard also, Mumbai is a narrow city, narrow island city. Mumbai is a narrow island city. The coastlines on both sides are equally important. Now, as the eastern side begins to pick up, that will bring some genuine balance to India's financial powerhouse.